I'm going to be completely honest with you from the start of this video. Most people looking at classic Porsches as investments in 2025 are focusing on the wrong models. Everyone talks about the Carrera GT or the 959, but what if I told you the truly undervalued gems are hiding in plain sight? Cars you can actually buy, drive, and potentially make money on. These three classics offer something that's becoming increasingly rare in today's market: genuine value. Before I reveal my top 3 picks, let me tell you what I mean by undervalued. I'm not talking about the cheapest Porsches. I'm not even talking about cars that will definitely shoot up in value tomorrow. I'm talking about iconic Porsche models that deliver an experience far beyond what their current price suggests. Cars that give you that classic Porsche feeling without requiring a second mortgage. What makes this particularly exciting is that we're at a unique moment in automotive history. As manufacturers rush toward electrification and autonomous driving, these analog machines from Porsche's golden era represent something increasingly precious: a pure, unfiltered driving experience that simply cannot be replicated by modern technology. To find these hidden gems, I've spent months analyzing auction results, talking with Porsche specialists, and studying the trends that most collectors are missing. And here's what's crazy: all 3 classics I'm about to show you are still flying under the radar in 2025. Everybody's just eyeing Bugattis. But before I reveal these cars, there's something critical you need to understand about the Porsche market in 2025. The days of accidental Porsche investments are over. 10 years ago, nobody wanted a 964 or 993. You could buy one for around $15,000 USD. Today, you're looking at well over $100,000 for a good example. So what separates the cars that will maintain value or appreciate from the ones that won't? 3 crucial factors: production numbers, how rare is it? Historical significance, what makes it special? The driving experience, does it deliver that signature Porsche feeling? And all my picks excel in those categories, starting with number 3 on our list. The Porsche 964. Produced from 1989 to 1994, the 964 represented the first major evolution of the 911. It brought modern amenities like power steering, ABS brakes, and a more refined interior, while preserving that classic 911 silhouette that everyone loves. Look at these lines, immediately recognizable as a 911, but with subtle refinements: the integrated bumpers, the slightly more modern dashboard, the improved climate control. Small changes that made a huge difference in drivability. In 2025, the average market price for a 964 Carrera II is $81,431, fitting comfortably within the typical range of $70,000 to $90,000, depending on condition and mileage. Porsche made just over 62,000 units of the 964 across all variants, a fraction of later 911 production, and the truly desirable variants even rarer. For collectors seeking rarer variants, the RS America, with only 701 units made for the US market, commands an average price of $150,000, though higher mileage examples can dip to around $100,000, while the American Roadster, limited to 250 units, averages $121,317, offering unique investment potential. When shopping for a 964, there are several critical areas to inspect that can make or break both your ownership experience and investment potential. First, check for proper documentation of the infamous timing chain tensioner update, which was a known issue in early models. Without this update, you risk catastrophic engine failure. Second, examine the floor pans and suspension mounting points for rust, as these areas are prone to corrosion even in well-maintained examples. Finally, insist on a thorough compression and leak-down test before purchase, as rebuilding these engines can easily exceed $15,000. But here's what makes the 964 truly special. It sits at this perfect intersection between classic and modern. The 3.6-liter flat-six produces 247 horsepower, which doesn't sound like much today, but the driving experience is absolutely magical. I owned a 964 Carrera 4 for 3 years, and I can tell you firsthand this car delivers 90% of the experience of a 993 for about 70% of the price. The steering feel is telepathic, the sound is intoxicating, and it's still analog enough to feel like a true classic. If you're looking to invest in a 964, focus on the Carrera 4, the Turbo, or if your budget allows, the RS variants. The turbo models in particular are showing strong appreciation, with low mileage examples already crossing the $200,000 mark. But as impressive as the 964 is, it's overshadowed by our number 2 pick, which offers something even more extraordinary: the legendary Porsche 930 Turbo, often nicknamed the Widowmaker. This is the car that forever changed Porsche's image when it debuted in 1975. Just look at it, that iconic whale tail, those dramatically flared fenders, the stance that screams, "I'm not just a sports car, I'm the sports car." This was Porsche showing the world they weren't just about precision, they were about raw, untamed power. The early 930s came with a 3.0-liter turbocharged flat-6, producing around 260 horsepower, later expanded to 3.3 liters and over 300 horsepower. But those numbers don't tell the whole story. What makes the 930 special is how it delivers that power. The turbo lag is part of the experience. You wait, then boom, the boost kicks in and suddenly you're managing an entirely different animal. It's not the fastest car by modern standards, but it might be the most engaging. Every drive is an event. In today's market, 930 turbos have a median price of approximately $130,000 for an average condition example, with prices ranging from about $120,000 for driver-quality cars to well over $250,000 for pristine, low-mileage specimens. Just over 21,000 units were built from 1975 to 1989, and its reputation as the first turbocharged 911 keeps demand high. Notably, the 3.3-liter variant is catching up in value to the rarer 3.6-liter model, showing stronger growth in recent years, while early 3.0-liter cars and 1989 models with the G50 gearbox remain particularly sought after by enthusiasts. Here's why the 930 is undervalued in 2025. Production numbers. Between 1975 and 1989, Porsche built just over 21,000 930 turbos. Compare that to modern 911 production, where Porsche makes that many cars in just a few months. But what really makes the 930 special is its place in automotive history. This wasn't just a fast Porsche, it was the first true everyday supercar. It changed how people thought about high-performance vehicles. It's not just a car, it's a cultural icon. And yet, as significant as the 930 Turbo is, our number 1 pick offers something even more special for the discerning collector in 2025: the timeless Porsche 356. Porsche's first production model, built from 1948 to 1965, represents the purest expression of Ferdinand Porsche's automotive philosophy. Look at the purity of this design. No unnecessary lines, no styling gimmicks, just perfect proportions and purposeful engineering. This is automotive design at its most essential, and that philosophy extends to every aspect of the car. The cabin is Spartan by modern standards, but everything you need is right where it should be. The large steering wheel, the simple gauges, the floor-hinged pedals, all designed with the driver in mind. The flat-4 engine might seem modest. Early models produced just 40 horsepower, later ones up to about 130 in the most powerful variants. But remember, these cars weigh less than 2,000 USD. It's all about power-to-weight ratio and handling balance. Driving a 356 is unlike any modern car experience. The steering is unassisted but perfectly weighted. The 4-speed gearbox requires deliberate shifts. The drum brakes need planning ahead, but it all comes together to create this symphony of mechanical interaction that modern cars simply can't match. The 356 market has developed fascinating sub-niches that savvy investors are targeting. Outlaw builds, which modernize the 356 while respecting its heritage, have created their own premium market segment with tastefully modified examples, sometimes exceeding the value of stock cars. Additionally, cars with documented competition history or rare factory options like Rudge wheels, GT fuel tanks, or factory lightweight seats can command 30 to 50% premiums. Even original toolkits and owner's manuals can add thousands to a car's value, with complete documentation packages becoming increasingly valuable as these details are lost to time. The later 356B and 356C models, particularly coupes, are often cited in the $90,000 to $150,000 range for good driver quality examples, though the average price for a 356C 1600C coupe is slightly lower at $81,794, offering a more accessible entry point. It's the oldest model here, with a timeless design that continues to captivate collectors. The 356C 1600C, produced from 1963 to 1965 with a production peak of 14,151 cars in 1964, balances rarity with availability. Prices for the 356 can vary widely, with recent sales ranging from $65,000 to $418,890, depending on the variant and condition, underscoring the importance of choosing the right example for investment. Why is the 356 my top pick for 2025? 3 reasons. First, historical significance. This is where Porsche began. Without the 356, there is no 911, no 930, no Porsche as we know it. You're not just buying a car, you're buying the foundation of Porsche's entire legacy. Second, usability. Despite being the oldest car on our list, the 356 is surprisingly practical. It's compact, relatively fuel efficient, and mechanically simple. Parts availability is excellent, and with proper maintenance, these cars are remarkably reliable. Finally, market stability. While other classic cars have seen wild price swings, 356 values have shown steady, consistent appreciation for decades. Even during market corrections, they tend to hold their value better than most classics. The 356 represents not just Porsche's history, but the foundation of the sports car market as we know it today. And in 2025, certain variants still offer remarkable value for what they deliver. So there you have it, my top 3 undervalued Porsche classics in 2025. But let's take a moment to analyze what makes these particular models stand out in today's market. If we look at production numbers, historical significance, and driving experience, all 3 deliver exceptional value, but in different ways. The 964 offers the most modern driving experience with classic looks. The 930 Turbo provides the most visceral performance with iconic styling, and the 356 gives you that pure mechanical connection that's increasingly rare in today's world. But here's something crucial to understand about investing in classic Porsches. Unlike stocks or real estate, these are assets you can actually enjoy while they potentially appreciate. The broader Porsche market data strongly supports my predictions. In mid-2022, over 25,000 Porsches sold at auction for a combined total exceeding $280 million, with the 911 family leading this charge. This represents a 37% increase over the previous year, significantly outperforming both the S&P 500 and the general classic car market during the same period. And while speculation has cooled slightly since then, the long-term trajectory remains undeniably positive, especially for the historically significant models we've discussed today. Let me give you a real-world example. If you had purchased a good 356C coupe in 2015 for around $75,000, today that same car would be worth approximately $125,000, a 66% increase in 10 years, and you would have had a decade of incredible driving experiences. Of course, there are costs to consider. Annual maintenance might run $2,000 to $5,000, depending on how often you drive the car. Storage, insurance, and occasional larger repairs all add up. These aren't passive investments, they require attention and care. But that's precisely what makes them special. In a world of digital assets and abstract investments, these machines offer something tangible, something you can see, touch, hear, and experience. And here's my final thought. While these three models have exceptional value today, the window of opportunity won't stay open forever. As younger collectors enter the market seeking analog experiences that modern cars can't provide, these classics will only become more desirable. So which of these three Porsche classics do you think offers the best value in 2025? Is it the modern classic balance of the 964, the raw turbocharged thrill of the 930, or the pure automotive heritage of the 356? Are they genuine, undervalued gems, or am I completely overrating them? Let me know in the comments below. Though, I'm curious, have you owned any of these models yourself? If so, what was your experience with maintenance costs and reliability? Would you consider upgrades that add modern technology to your classic Porsche? Or if you haven't purchased one yet, what do you think? Is there a future for these retro Porsches in a world that seems to push Teslas as the automotive icon? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe for more content on buying cars you can actually enjoy. Until then, remember the best investment is the one that brings you joy every time you turn on the key. Porsche.